This is a story called The Little Monsters, Chapter 38. The kids go back to Chester Zoo. It's the summer holidays and the kids are all excited about doing their work experience at Chester Zoo. It's only a few days until they go, and they're all busy getting as much of their joke stuff together as they can. On the day they go, they put toy crabs on the passenger and driver's seats in their parents' cars. When they sat on them, they pinched their bums, causing them to howl in pain. When they got to Chester Zoo, it was about 5 p.m, so they just went to the hotel. The swimming pool was still open, so the kids had some tea and then they all went swimming for a bit, and then they went back to the hotel. That night, the kids sneakily went round the hotel rooms and put toy crabs in people's beds. When they climbed into bed, the crabs pinched them hard, making them howl in pain. The next day, when everyone left their hotel rooms, the kids went round and collected their toy crabs. Once they'd collected them, everyone made their way over to the zoo. That first day, the kids worked with the monkeys for a bit until lunchtime. During lunchtime, they sneakily put toy horses on people's chairs. When they sat on them, they kicked them hard on their bums. Then they went round putting toy crabs on people's seats and putting fart gas in their drinks. After lunch, they worked with the monkeys again, feeding them and cleaning out their pens. That day, when they'd finished, they went back to the hotel for their tea. As soon as they finished eating, they told their parents that they were going to get their swimming stuff. Whilst they were doing so, they went round putting toy horses in people's beds, and then they went to the swimming pool. After swimming, they went and played on the park for a bit. That night when everyone got into bed, the horses kicked them hard, making them cry out in pain. The next day, when the hotel rooms were empty, the kids went and collected their horses. Then they made their way over to the zoo. That day they worked with the giraffes and they even watched one being born. At lunchtime, the kids put their toy horses on people's seats again. When anyone sat on them, they kicked them hard, making them cry out in pain. Then they went round putting soft fart sweets in people's drinks when they weren't looking. Then they went back to work and they continued to work with the giraffes. That day they finished work at 4 p.m. and they made their way back to the hotel, had their tea and then they went swimming again. They didn't go to the park because it was raining, so they just stayed at the swimming pool. When they went back to the hotel, they went round the rooms putting fake dog poo in people's beds. When they lied on them, they squashed them, causing the fake poo to squirt out and it smelled like real dog poo. The next day, the kids went round the rooms and collected their fake dog poo, and then they went over to the zoo. That day they worked with the meerkats for a few hours until it was time for lunch. During lunchtime they put toy spiders on people's seats, and when they sat on them they bit them hard on their bums. Then they let their toy rats go, causing everyone to scream. Then they went back to the zoo and continued to work with the meerkats for the rest of the day. When they finished work they went back to the hotel and had their tea. Before they sat down to eat, they went round putting whoopee cushions on people's seats. When they sat on them, they deflated, making a loud farting noise. After tea, the kids went round putting stink bombs in people's beds. When they'd finished, they went swimming and then to the park. Afterwards, when it was time for bed, some of the other guests got into bed and lied on the stink bombs, making them go off. This caused them to run to the windows and open them to get some fresh air, much to the kids' amusement. The next day when they went over to the zoo, they worked with the hippos until lunchtime. At lunchtime, before they settled down to eat their lunch, they went round putting whoopee cushions on other people's seats. When they sat on them, they deflated, making a loud farting noise. After lunch, the kids continued to work with the hippos. When it was time to go back to the hotel for tea, the kids went round putting toy cats in people's beds, and then they went swimming again. That night, when the other guests got into bed, the toy cat scratched them, causing them to cry out in pain. The next day at the zoo, the kids worked with the elephants. At lunchtime, they put pink cushions on other people's seats, and when they sat on them, they stuck in their bums, causing them to howl in pain. After lunch, the kids continued to work with the elephants. When they went back to the hotel, they went round the other guest rooms putting toy dogs in their beds, and then they went and had their tea. After tea, they went swimming again, and then they went to play on the park, and then they went back to the hotel. When the other guests got into bed, the dogs bit them, causing them to dive out of bed, howling in pain. The next day at the zoo, the kids got to work with the sea lions. They fed them, cleaned out their pool, and helped to teach them to do tricks. At lunchtime, the kids went round putting fart gas in everyone's drinks and toy cars on their seats. When they sat on them, they beeped and it sounded like farting. After lunch, they continued to work with the sea lions. When they went back to the hotel, they went round putting toy rabbits in people's beds, and then they went swimming again after their tea. That night, when the other guests got into bed, the toy rabbits bit them, causing them to jump out of bed, howling in pain. The next day at the zoo, the kids worked with the penguins. When it was time for lunch, they went round putting their toy rabbits on people's seats. When they sat on them, they bit them, causing them to jump up, howling in pain. During the rest of their time at the zoo, the kids got to work with the seals, the bears, and lots of other animals. They had a brilliant time working at the zoo, and they were very sad to leave. However, they'd created lots of fun memories, and their parents and the staff took loads of photos of them working with different animals. When they went back to school, they told everyone about their time at the zoo, and they showed them the photos. End of chapter 38. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you.